Hello. This video covers 2.2 linear equations using the properties together. Objective 1. Let's first do some practice problems. In this problem, number 1, we have the parentheses that we need to do first. We use what is called the distributive property here. We distribute the negative 2 across the parentheses. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, and negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. With the minus sign, we distribute that to the 2, which becomes negative 2, and to the negative 3x, two negatives make a positive, and now we have positive 3x. And now we simplify. We have 6 minus 8 minus 2. 6 minus 8 is negative 2, and minus 2 is negative 4. Then we have negative 6x plus 3x, which is negative 3x. So that expression is simplified to negative 4 minus 3x. In number 2, we're asked to evaluate the expression. Evaluate it when x is negative 1. So where we see this x, we're going to replace it with negative 1. That 3x is 3 times negative 1 plus 4 minus 5 times negative 1 squared. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 plus 4 minus 5. And remember, negative 1 squared is the same thing as negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. So 5 times negative 1 squared is 5 times 1. And then negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So we have 2 times 1 minus 5 times 1. And that's 2 minus 5, which is negative 3. Now comes something a little bit different where we solve the equations. And remember, when we have an equation that has a plus sign in it, x plus 8 equals 5, we subtract 8 from both sides to get x by itself, and 5 minus 8 is negative 3. So negative 3 is the number that you would add to 8 to get 5. With negative 3/4 x equals 36, we have to ask ourselves how we undo the negative 3/4 in front of the x. One way to approach this is to multiply it by its reciprocal. Its reciprocal is negative 4/3. But what I do to one side, I have to also do to the other side. And so I multiply it by 36 on the right side. The reason we multiplied by the reciprocal is because now the 4 on the top cancels the 4 on the bottom, the 3 on the bottom cancels the 3 on the top, and the negatives cancel each other out, and we're just left with x. Now we have negative 4/3 times 36. 3 goes into 3 once and into 36 12 times, and we're left with negative 4 times 12, which is negative 48. Okay, so that was the property of equality doing one step, and now we're going to use the properties together in 2.2. The addition and multiplication properties of equality. In 3a, I used the addition property of equality, and in b, I used the multiplication property of equality. When I solve 3x minus 9 equals 12, I have to undo what is happening to x. 3 times x minus 9. So I first start by undoing the minus 9 by adding 9 to both sides. I add 9 to the left, and I add 9 to the right. That has the effect of canceling that negative 9, and now it's 3x, and 12 plus 9 is 21. Continuing on undoing what's happening to x. Now we have 3 times x, so we divide by 3. That's thought of as multiplying by 1/3, hence the name multiplication property of equality. So what we do to one side, we do to the other side, and we get x is equal to 21 divided by 3, which is 7. Now, of course, I should always remind you that you can check this by putting it right back into the equation. 21 minus 9 is 12. So recall, you always undo by adding or subtracting first, and then by multiplication or division second. We apply that same procedure with this problem, and since we're adding 8 to 2/3 x, we would want to subtract 8 from both sides. 8 minus 8 is 0, leaves me with 2/3 x, and 12 minus 8 is 4. Now to undo what's happening to x, we have 2/3 x in front, or 2/3 in front of x, so we multiply it by its reciprocal, 3/2. 3/2 times 4 over 1. On the left side, we've canceled the coefficient, and on the right side, we have 2 goes into 2 once, into 4 twice, and 3 times 2 is 6. Good exercise for you would be to check it, plug it right back into 2/3 times x plus 8, and you should get 12. 2/3 times 6 over 1, 3 goes into 3 once, into 6 twice, and 2 times 2 is 4, plus 8 makes 12. This video concludes Objective 1 in 2.2. Use the addition and the multiplication properties of equality to solve linear equations.